Hello, everybody. Welcome to Moxie Bets, presented by Caesar Sportsbook. I'm Katie Mox. Today, we're talking NHL playoffs and some MLS with our guy, Carmine Bianco of Wager Talk. Carmine, thank you so much for joining us today. How are we doing?
We're doing good. The NHL is it's enjoyable. Four teams,
Yeah.
and they're just playing some lights out hockey, and we're getting some overtime bonus on top of it as well too. So I'm really enjoying the playoffs this season and looking forward to tonight's game, Florida and the New York Rangers.
Yeah, I feel like we've had some good postseason, both in the NBA and the NHL. Some really exciting games, some close ones, some overtimes, which of course we will get into. But I will say, Carmine, in the pre show, you were talking a little smack about the 49ers and your Bills playing the Niners on December 1st. But you got yourself a box and you invited me. Let me tell you, I'm coming. Don't invite me to
All
a
right.
box at an NFL game and expect me not to come.
There's going to be there's going to be quite a few Niners fans in that box, and come to think of it, I think Kelly Stewart's going to make the trip up as well too.
Yes.
I don't know who she's going to cheer for, so I let her know. And then a couple of my buddies are Niners fans, so I'm gonna have to try and fill it with a few more Bills fans. I need some Bills
Yeah.
Mafia in there as well too.
Well, you just gotta put a folding table in there and they will come as far as I'm concerned, Carmine.
Yes, some beef
I'm so
on
exci
wet.
I've never met Kelly
Yes.
in person, so, I would love that. It's just so funny because we are, social media friends, but I haven't met her, um, in person. Alright, so let's move on. We will talk about that offline, and let's talk about some playoff hockey. First of all, Rangers and Panthers, the, NHL East final, game 4. And if we recap game 3 here, right? The Rangers won 5-4 in overtime. 9 goals scored in game 3. They only had 6 goals combined in games 1 and 2. Their last 2 games, Carmine, have gone into overtime. They are perfect in overtime in the postseason, 4-0. It's their first playoff win when allowing 4+ goals since 1997. They snapped a 42 game postseason losing streak. But Carmine, they did it without goals from Mika, Kreider, Fox, and the Breadman. Did that surprise you at all?
It did, but the Rangers team has been good all year, and
Yeah.
different players contributing. It's why they won the President's Trophy. The one thing people always come back to for some reason is that the teams that win the President's Trophy don't win the Stanley Cup. I think you have to go back to like the 12-13 season. I think it was when Chicago, the
Yeah.
Blackhawks did it, but
Yeah.
a lot of it's changed because of the parity in the league. There are so many good teams now in the league, and we're seeing like four of them. Y you know, they're gonna have to bring it again tonight because I think Florida's gonna play one of their probably they've gotta play their best game
Yeah.
of the playoffs, to even up this series, and I have a feeling they will do it, as far as, like, goals go, and when we look at, like, this total, which sits at 5.5, I get it that 9 goals were scored in that game, but, I would draw a line through that as far as, expecting to see goals tonight. You look at, like, some of the XG numbers, or you look at some of the numbers in the post-game analytics. The XG number in that game was, which is expected goals for anyone tuning in who doesn't know what XG means, 3.77 to 1.77 for Florida. So Florida basically did what they were supposed to do in the sense of they created almost four expected goals, and they scored four expected goals. It was the Rangers that created only just under two expected goals and scored five in that game. So they
Mm.
definitely exceeded expectation in that one. High danger chances, 16
Yeah.
to 8 for Florida. The shots on goal, which um, can always be skewed. I don't put a lot of stock
Yeah.
in the shots on goal, but 37 to 23, Katie, because teams are winning in the playoffs this year, and getting less than 20 shots on goal. It's happening. Defense rules, and then the scoring chances were 46 to 21 for Florida in this game. So I'm going to draw a line through that because in
Mm.
7 home games in the playoffs, Florida has only allowed more than 2 goals twice. And if you go back even further into the regular season, in their last 12 home games, they've only allowed 2 goals, more than 2 goals twice this season. So I draw a line through that. I don't think you're going to see a 5-4 game tonight. I think we'll see another low scoring game like we saw in those two at Madison Square Gardens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said a lot there. Florida obviously looking to avoid their third straight loss. I don't think that they've done that in the postseason since like 2022 versus Tampa. So you think that Florida's going to take this game? Obviously, minus 170 on the money line, puck line minus 1.5. You can find that at plus 158. Total 5.5 goals. Are you looking at an under in this game? What's your best bet here?
I would look at the under. I think the under is probably the best bet. I don't like playing the high vig numbers. So like while I like Florida, they're minus 170. There's books give you different options on how to play the game. You can play if you think the game will end within 60 minutes, you can take the regulation line, which is the three-way line that
Mm-hmm.
are offered at every book, and you can get them at minus 105.
Yeah.
The
Do you
one
think
caveat
that
with
this
that
one
is
ends
that
in they've gone to overtime
that's the thing
twice?
is yes, and that's the thing is, you can take the lower vig and not spend the 170, but if the game goes to overtime and Florida wins, you're still stuck with a losing ticket. Um, but obviously at lower vig, I think they get it done in 60 minutes. I think they avoid
Mhm.
OT tonight. It's tough to say with these teams. I just don't. I can't see three consecutive games going to OT here. I think Florida plays their best game. They've done a great job of shutting down the top lines in the playoffs thus far. And you mentioned 5-4 for the Rangers in the last game, and guys like Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, Kreider, all kept pretty much kept off the score
Yeah.
sheet as far as goal scoring goes. So I think Florida does it again and wins one of those low scoring games. I'll throw out an exact score: 3-1 Panthers tonight.
Okay, so we're gonna see some rats on the
Yes.
ice tonight. I always think that's the funniest tradition that they have. And I will say, as someone who grew up as a San Jose Sharks fan, yes, winning the President's Trophy used to be the kiss of death. Where they won that a couple times. Although, how do you? Let me just ask you right now. Obviously, the Sharks have the number one draft pick. They've got a generational talent coming out of the draft who has ties. Was a junior Shark. Do you feel like this could help change the organization over there?
It's a step in the right direction. I joked around during
So
the
you're
hockey.
what you're
I
saying is
joked around.
no.
uh, No, no, I think it does. It's going to be. Um, it's a work in progress, but stockpiling those picks. I talked about. I think it's the GM is what Mike Greer, right? I believe
Mhm.
there
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
Sharks, and I joked around
Yeah.
that he should actually be given the award for the best GM in the league, even though they finished last, because he dumped all those
Yeah.
salaries. He dumped all that
Yeah.
money, accumulated a bunch of picks, and at the very least, they can spend some money in the offseason and bring in some younger talent, some prospects, and start to rebuild this team. Is that going to happen overnight? No, of course it's not. But at the very least, in 2, 3, 4 years' time, maybe they are a playoff contender.
That'll be fun. I mean, I grew the San Jose Sharks were the only thing we had in San Jose. I'm from San Jose. Obviously, the 49ers and everyone were a little bit further down the road at the time. And the Shark Tank used to be one of the most exciting buildings to play in and so great. So it would be wonderful to see them winning again. All right, so let's move on to the West Final here with the Oilers and the Stars. Stars defeat the Oilers 5-3. Now, the Oilers had a 2-0 lead after the first period, but then the Stars scored 3 goals in a span of 3 minutes and 33 seconds in the second period to take a 3-2 lead. Jason Robertson back to back or back to his robo ways, I shall say, right? He recorded a hat trick last night. He hadn't scored in 10 games. So it was nice to see him back. He did have 29 goals, 51 assists in the regular season, totaling 80 points. Connor McDavid hit 100 career playoff points with a goal and an assist in the defeat. Stuart Skinner made 17 saves of 21 shots, while the Dallas goalie Ottinger stopped 27 of 30 for their victory. Any key takeaways from game three for you?
Again, from an analytics point of view, the game was pretty much even. Katie, you look at it, 384 to 318 expected goals, shots, 31-22, pretty much even there. And, scoring chances, 29-24, and even high danger, 16-10. It was a pretty even game. the problem here was obviously that second period. The Oilers
Yeah.
could not match the energy level of the Dallas Stars. The Stars came out, and that third goal is always the most important goal in a
Yes.
2-0 game. It's either 2-1 and you're
Yeah.
back in it, or it's 3-0 and you can start to sort of lock down the neutral zone. And Dallas just had it. It's not just that 3.5 minute, 4 minute span where they scored the three goals. It was the whole period. They allowed the Oilers pretty much nothing in that period. They shut them down,
Yeah.
and the Oilers were never they never recovered. It's one period. I don't put anything on Stuart Skinner here. I know everyone always wants to blame the goalie, especially with the Edmonton Oilers, because it's been their Achilles heel year in and year out, goalies in the playoffs. But Skinner has played extremely well, and
Yes.
I have a feeling he bounces back in the next game. I think this is one where, as far as game four goes, I think the Oilers are likely going to be the play. It's a very low price on the Oilers. I think they even this series up. I don't believe either one of these series is going to end early. I see them both going at least 6 games. So for that to happen, we're going to need Florida to win tonight, and the Oilers obviously to win tomorrow.
Okay, so let's look at that. Oilers are favored -125. You get the Stars just over even money. Obviously, the puck line 1.5. Total 5.5 goals, very similar. For the Oilers to win this series, as you said, you can find that at +215. Both of these teams can score a lot of goals. We've seen a lot of volume, right, in this series. But I do think that the Oilers need to get production from more than just Connor McDavid here. I know Draisaitl's been pretty decent as well, but, do you think that the Oilers pull this off tonight?
Yeah,
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, like on
Yeah.
sorry, on Wednesday night. I think they do, but you're absolutely right. Guys like Evander Kane have got to step up. Zach Hyman's done a phenomenal job. I always poke fun at Maple Leaf fans because I'm from Toronto. That Zach Hyman has more goals in the playoffs than the entire Toronto team had in the
Oof.
first round of the playoffs. But the other guys have to step it up the same way in which the Rangers are getting in their series. They're getting a lot of secondary
Yeah.
scoring. Guys are stepping up for Dallas. The same thing has to happen. It can't just be Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, and Leon Draisaitl. It has to be the other guys and Ryan, Nugent Hopkins. These guys need to step it up in this series because the Stars they play the same way each and every game. So a high energy level. We saw them roll into Colorado in the last series and beat Colorado 3 times at home, holding them to a goal in each game. So we saw the Oilers were able to score in this one. I think they're going to score again. I like it's why I like the over at 5.5. Um, I think it's a good one because it's always those 3-2 games where you're going to get an empty netter at the very least, or the opportunity at an empty netter. I
Yeah.
just don't see one team running away with it, and I think the Oilers will learn from that. They'll learn from that second period, Katie, and they're going to be much better in Game 4. So we'll see. They'll match the intensity level. If not, that first
Right.
period was absolutely electric from the Oilers. They need to do that for 60
Yes.
minutes, not 20.
Yes. Yes. Exactly, and McDavid said too, he's like, "You could just sense their desperation, and we couldn't, match that." Alright, so you're going Oilers here and leaning on that over, 5.5. Talk to me about the puck line because I feel like in both of these things, you've taken the money line. Is it just too hard and risky to win by 2 goals with these matchups?
It's it is in a series like this one. I would take the puck line in a series like the Rangers one because there are so many one goal games in those
Yeah.
ones. In the Oilers series, if you like a team, whether it's Dallas or whether it's Edmonton, I wouldn't mind the puck line.
Mhm.
You can sort of split. Let's say you're looking to put a couple units on the game. I would probably split a unit on the money line and one on the puck
Money
line.
line?
And it brings down
Yeah.
that vig that you're spending on the money line just
Yeah.
a little bit lower as well too when you figure out those two wagers together. It's one where we saw the empty netter we saw two empty net goals, an empty net goal in game two by the Stars, an empty net goal
Right.
in game three by the Stars. So, and those are the ones you need in order to cash that ticket. And teams are pulling their goalies with about two and a half,
Sooner.
sometimes even
Yeah.
3 minutes. So it's not like
Hmm.
the regular season where they pull them with like a minute left. So
Yeah.
I don't mind the puck line in this game either.
Okay, I like that. Splitting 2 units over the two. All right, let's talk awards here. The Conn Smythe Award. You got Igor Shesterkin as the favorite at plus 360. Then you got Jake Ottinger, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid. What would be your best bet to win the Conn Smythe?
So I here's an interesting angle that I'm looking at, Katie, as far as Conn Smythe. And this is with regards to the Rangers, and this is with regards to Dallas. So let's take Dallas for instance. So Dallas is plus 260 to win I believe, 260 right now to win the Stanley Cup. If you like Dallas to win the Stanley Cup, I say you take the Conn Smythe winner, Jake Ottinger,
Mm-hmm.
because he
Yeah,
is likely the goalie for whether it's Shesterkin for the Rangers or Ottinger for Dallas. If
yeah,
one of those teams wins the cup, it's their goalie who's going to win the Conn Smythe because they've been the
right.
standouts thus far in the playoffs. There hasn't been a player like Edmonton with McDavid. So you're going to get 475 on Jake Ottinger to win the Conn Smythe instead of getting plus 260 on Dallas to win the cup. You're getting a much better price. Obviously, it's a calculated risk. You could the Stars could win, but who would get the Conn Smythe? It's got to be the goalie in this case, and it normally
Yeah.
is. So I like Oettinger at plus 475 because if they are going to win the cup, he is going to win the Conn Smythe, and 475 is much better than plus 260. So that's a tricky way of playing it, and how I would look at it.
Okay, so by that, then I feel like you think that potentially the Stars could win the cup, but then down here it says you've got the Panthers winning the cup. So talk to me about the disparity here.
Yeah, so I would like yeah, so I'm talking about it, the first one was how to bet the Conn Smythe as far as, odds
Right.
go. I do like
Okay.
the Panthers
Yes.
to win, 'cause
Yeah.
I think the if nothing else, the run that the Panthers made last year taught them, and gave them the experience that, they're never out of a series. They were down 3-1 to the Bruins, came back, they
Yeah.
manhandled Carolina as well too, and made it to the finals. Injuries took their toll on that team. They had
Yeah.
been playing playoff hockey for the last month of the NHL season, and then of course the playoffs just to get in. And then once the series was over against the Vegas Golden Knights, we heard of all the injuries that they were suffering on that team. They're healthy this year. Obviously, if they win tonight, that price is going to drop. It's at plus, I think it's plus
Right.
380 right now on them.
Yes.
And if you like
Yes.
them to win
Uh-huh.
tonight, and they are, I won't call it a prohibitive favorite, but minus
Mhm.
170 is about the biggest price we've seen thus far in the 5 games or six games that have been played in the conference finals. This is the biggest price we've seen, 170 ish. If you like them to win tonight, then they even the series at two. And
Right.
I have no problem with them going into New York and winning in New York. They did it in game one. They were the best road
They
team
did it.
during the regular season. They
Yes.
can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they killed the Rangers in game 1. They didn't have, a goal at all, the Rangers. Yeah, Panthers right now have the longest odds at plus 380. The Rangers have the shortest odds at plus 220. So I like your angle there. We are gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're talking MLS with Carmine Bianco of Wager Talk. Don't go anywhere. Why should you bet with Caesars Sportsbook? 2 words: Caesars Rewards. Every bet brings you closer to the type of benefits only Caesars can offer: hotel stays, VIP experiences, sports and concert tickets, and more. It's not just an app, it's an empire. Welcome back here on Moxie Bets, presented by Caesar Sportsbook. And we are here with our friend Carmine Bianco of Wager Talk. So let's move on to some MLS because we had you on last year and you talked to MLS and you gave such good insight. So let's start by talking about Messi's second season with Inter Miami. He's been in and out of the lineup a bit, scoring 10 goals in 10 games so far. How has his inconsistency affected the team and how you bet them?
Yeah. I think, as far as, as far as Messi goes, he's someone that, he's going to let them know when he's always gonna wanna play, but he's gonna let them know when he's not feeling right. They need him. They wanna win obviously, they wanna win the MLS Cup, but they don't just wanna win the MLS Cup. They want to host the MLS Cup and win it, and
Ooh.
obviously, in order to host it, you have to win the Supporters Shield. They play tomorrow. They play on Wednesday against Atlanta at home, and then they play again against, I believe it's St. Louis on the weekend. Now, Messi didn't play in the last game. He wasn't injured. He was rested along with Luis Suarez and Busquets. They didn't even make the trip. It's a 4,500 mile or kilometer trip from Miami to Vancouver and back, and they were still able to win in Vancouver 2-1. The fans weren't happy. They spent hundreds of dollars on tickets to see Lionel Messi, and Messi was back
Well,
in back in Miami. But Messi will play on Wednesday. He will play on Saturday, because at this point now, Katie, they need to stack some points. Since he is hot on their trails, I saw Cincinnati on the weekend here in Toronto. I'm a season ticket holder. That's why I'm wearing the TFC
ah.
jersey, and I was cheering for Cincinnati quietly because I bet them at plus 140. But with that said, sometimes you have to put bias aside and go where the money is. And Cincinnati scored 4 goals to win 4-3. It was quite a game. But Cincinnati's got a very good team. They're hot on the heels of Miami. They're a point back. And this is the thing is about point stacking for Miami and getting these players in is because with the Copa America coming to the US, Katie, for the first time next month, which is it's obviously normally held in South America, but this year money rules, and they're coming to the US
Mhm.
and playing throughout the US. The USA is in the tournament, Canada's in the tournament, Mexico's in the tournament. So now you have other teams that are playing in it. Obviously, for Argentina, Lionel Messi is playing for Argentina, so he is going to miss some
Right.
games for them. He's going to miss at least 4 games against Philadelphia, Columbus, Nashville, and Charlotte, and then possibly,
Mm.
if Argentina make a deep run or go to the finals, he'll miss the game against Cincinnati. So those are 5 games where they're gonna be missing not just Messi, but quite a few of their
Yeah.
players who are on international
Right.
duty. So these games become that much more important. Tomorrow, they play Atlanta, who are winless on the road, have only scored a couple goals. They're missing their striker, who plays for Greece, but has been injured, and they just cannot score on the road. And you're gonna have to lay a goal with Miami, but they're
Mhm.
going to win this by 2, maybe 3 goals in this one. I expect Inter Miami to get a big result on Wednesday.
Okay, I love that. So yeah, 12 games on Wednesday. So we like Inter Miami over Atlanta, winning by a couple goals there. Any prop bets that you're looking at for the Wednesday slate?
There is one, and this one is in the LA Galaxy game that goes on later in the evening. I think it might be the last game of the night. Serbian striker who plays for the Galaxy, Dejan Joveljic. He's been a scoring machine for them. Now he's got 7 goals. He's their highest scorer on the Galaxy, who are scoring a lot of goals this season. He started the season by scoring in the first 5 games, a goal in each game. Then he got injured, so he missed a couple games, and they brought him back slowly. He played less than 90 minutes in 2 straight games. I think 68 minutes in one, 32 minutes in another. But he's back to full strength. He's healthy, and they're back home. He's going to find the back of the net, and you can bet the anytime goal score. And you can shop for these because
Mm,
different books have
okay.
different prices. But the lowest I could find
Yes.
was plus 125. So, you can find them probably at a much better price at some other books, plus 125 on him to get a goal, anytime goal. Dejan Joveljic.
Okay, I love that. Any futures that you're looking at that we should tail in the MLS?
Final one, obviously, Miami is the favorite to win the MLS Cup, but there's absolutely
Yes.
no value on them. I bet the LA sorry, not the LA Galaxy. I bet LAFC at the beginning of the season, and they're pretty much the same price right now at about plus 800 to win the MLS Cup. Big signing for them, obviously, new goalie for them, or the goalie from Europe in Hugo Lloris, but they also just signed from AC Milan and French striker um, Olivier Giroud. And
Mm.
that's a big one for them. The Galaxy have been known. Sorry, the Galaxy. I keep saying the Galaxy. LAFC have been known to do this
There's
each
2
and
teams
every.
now, yeah.
Yeah. LAFC have been known to do this. They brought in Gareth Bale um, in the season in which they won the MLS Cup, which was 2 years ago. Last year they made it to the MLS Cup again. They beat Philly in the first one. They lost to Columbus in the second one. They're looking to make it back for a third straight time. I think they're the best team in the West, and there are so many players on that team, Katie, that can score for this LAFC team. Dennis Buanga, who is the Golden Boot winner last season. Christian Olivier, Mateus Bogus, David Martinez. There's a lot of very good players on this team. The thing with Giroud is he can't start playing immediately. The transfer window has to close, or has to open or close in July. So it's about July 17th when that'll happen, and he'll be eligible to play, which is the same time the League's Cup kicks off,
Okay.
which is all the teams from the Mexican League and all the MLS teams, and these other two tournaments, the Copa America and the Euros 2024, will be over. So he'll be able to play, the last 10 or 12 games of the season, and they've got a very good team. They could very easily make it to the MLS Cup final and win it. And I'd rather be holding a plus 800 ticket than a plus 175.
Yes. Yes. I'm moving out to Fort Lauderdale, and our CBS studios actually is really close to where Inter Miami plays. You can almost see it from the studio. So maybe I'll have to pop down and see one of those games. Although I'm pretty sure they're quite expensive because of you
Yes.
know who. All right, I would be remiss not to ask you about the Champions League. Right, we got Borussia Dortmund versus Real Madrid, Wembley Stadium, London, Saturday, June 1st. Carmine, Real Madrid are just like the kings of Europe, right? No one has had more success in Europe than Madrid have. They've won the European Cup or the Champions League 14 times, twice as much as the next closest club, which of course is AC Milan. They have 7. But then you've got this German team, Dortmund. They're kind of a factory, right, for prodigious footballing talent. I think over the last 6 years, they have sold 6 players who have sold for over $60 million. But despite selling off most of their incredible talent, they have managed to qualify for the Champions League in 9 consecutive seasons. When I look at this, obviously Real Madrid is the favorite, minus 170. You could get Dortmund at plus 450. Any thoughts on the Champions League final?
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I like this Dortmund team, and much like you said, they create players, they sell them. Bellingham,
They're a
Jaden,
factory.
yeah, and of course, Erling Haaland, of all people, who's now with Manchester City. Um, this is one of those ones I think people equate very good teams with a lot of goals being scored. I don't think a lot of goals are going to be scored in this one. So
Mm.
you could look at the total. There's the option of where
Yep.
you can take Borussia Dortmund and you take the plus 1 goal. You take the handicap on it. I don't think it's going to be a 2-goal victory. And Madrid are a very good team. They're perennial
Right.
winners of this tournament. It seems, as you mentioned, they're a very good squad. But I'm getting a plus a goal with Borussia Dortmund, and I like that. Laying about
Okay.
20 cents, probably in vig, and I think that's the right play, because not only do I think that they don't lose by 2 plus goals, I actually feel like they have a chance to win this game. So if the game was to go to extra time and or penalty kicks, and
Uh-huh.
you have the plus 1,
Right.
regardless of what happens in extra time, you're a winner, because
Yeah.
books are grading on 90 minutes plus injury time. So I prefer to take the head start here and the plus 1
Yeah.
with Borussia Dortmund.
Okay.
Hopefully, I don't offend any of the Madristas that are out there.
Hey, the dogs are barking, and it would be nice to see somebody else win it for a change. All right, Carmine, thank you so much for joining us today. Obviously, you can find him on Wager Talk, but talk to me about any shows or podcasts that people should tune in and see.
Yeah, Puck Time is the one during the NHL Playoffs every single day at 11 o'clock on Wager Talk TV on YouTube channel and across other platforms as well too. But if you head over to if you head over to YouTube and search for Wager Talk, hit the subscribe button, and you'll get alerted to any of the shows as they come. And I co-host the Puck Time show with Andrew McInnes as well too. So we love talking hockey every morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, if you need hockey talk, make sure you tune in to that show on Wager Talk. Also, you can follow Carmine at Carmine Bianco WT on social. The WT, of course, is for Wager Talk. This has been Moxie Bets presented by Caesar Sportsbook. Don't forget to follow us on social as well at Moxie Bets. We'll see you next time. Carmine, thank you for your time.